We're going to be going live today. Oh, what's going on with that? Yeah, there we go. I don't want to put that one there. Yeah, let's go there. That looks good. All right, as we get people coming in here, just getting the live going. Can I? All right, we're getting the poll going right now. Welcome in, guys. Welcome in. Let's get going. I got to put on my reading glasses so that I can read this small little text on the phone, because that's what happens when you get older. Man, so the Raiders have been disrespected once again, and it is absolutely crazy. I just don't understand what's going on. Guys, check in with me real quick and let me know if the audio and the video is all good for you, so that way we can make this a live stream happen just the way it should. So we know that the Las Vegas Raiders missed out on Christian Ellis. Um, so the Patriots played cock block there and went ahead and made sure that he was going to stay with the Patriots and not come to the Raiders, which really sucks. So for me, I'm like, okay, we made some moves in the offseason, and some draft boards have the Raiders ending up with Jahad Campbell in the draft. And for me, that would be fantastic. Salute to you, Nation, for everybody that is checking in right now on today's live stream. So we got a lot to talk about. There's a lot of rumors going on about the wide receiver room. There's a lot of rumors going on about the draft. And obviously, nobody knows what is going to happen until it happens. Brando, I see you. You want Ashton Genty. I think anybody in their right mind would want Ashton Genty, just because the dude is an absolute stud. He is phenomenal. And you just can't beat a guy like that. However, at pick number 6, do you take a running back when you need a wide receiver? Well, there's Stephon Diggs out there. He's available. There's still Keenan Allen. He's available. And I think Amari Cooper, he's available, and Tyler Lockett. Now, Tyler Lockett is supposed to be receiving an offer from the Raiders coming up here pretty soon. And so you could see Tyler Lockett come to the Raiders right now. But again, he doesn't solve the problem that we have. And so that's why I say, do you use that pick number 6 on a guy like Ted McMillan, who everybody is saying is a top 10 wide receiver in this draft? Yes, there are some holes in his game, but very minimal. The dude is a big body guy, and he just makes sense to come into the Raiders. However, Ashton Genty, in my opinion, is a generational running back. The problem is running backs tend to get hurt a lot. It's one of the positions that tends to go down the most and miss the most games in the NFL. And so do you spend that high of a draft pick on a guy who, generational as he is, could very well end up not playing for you a whole lot if he ends up becoming injured? And that's my biggest concern and worry with him. However, I tell you this right now, if the Las Vegas Raiders are going to draft Ashton Genty at pick number 6, I'm all for it. I'm going to celebrate, because this dude is a human pinball, and he's going to bounce off tacklers in the NFL just like he did in college. And There we go. Sorry, guys. Okay, we should be back now. Do you guys hear me? I am not seeing me here. Oh no, what happened? Okay, I can't see me though. I don't know why I can't see myself. But okay. I guess it doesn't matter if I can see myself or not. Let me try the change this. Does that fix it? Okay, you guys can see me. Okay, cool. I mean, as long as you can see me, I have no idea what's going on the screen or why that happened, but okay. Nope, can't see me anymore, he says. What is happening here? I got a phone call come in, and now it's all jacked up. Okay, hold on. I don't know. Okay, hold on, guys. Let me see if I can try and fix this. I may have to restart the live. I got a phone call came in and it totally jacked up the whole situation. Which I don't understand. No, I don't want that. Okay, you guys can see and hear me. Okay, cool. I have, just keep me posted because for some reason I cannot see myself in my screen here. So we'll just keep going. We'll keep rocking. So, yeah, the Raiders are ranked at pick number 26 according to ESPN. To me, I think that this is, it's just completely disrespectful. Luis, it is not the solar panels. It's my phone because I got a phone call while we were doing this. How do you guys feel about ESPN ranking the Raiders at 26? Do you agree or disagree? Drop a comment down below and let me know. Here's why I disagree with this and why I think this is just outright disrespectful. When you go and you get a Hall of Fame head coach like Pete Carroll in the offseason and you bring him in and you go and you get one of the best offensive minds in football, whether that's in college or the NFL, in Chip Kelly, and you bring in a GM who's making smart moves, not overpaying for players, but then bringing in comparable players in order to make sure that we have enough salary cap to pay our true stars, the guys who really make big impacts on this team. And you got a guy like Brock Bowers, you got a guy like Max Crosby, you bring in Geno Smith, who is a proven starter in the NFL, who's gonna win you some games, and you're at pick number 6 in the draft this year. I think, in my opinion, the Raiders should be ranked somewhere in the top 20. I'm not saying the Raiders should be ranked top 10. I don't think we're not there, and we haven't proved it yet, right? The Raiders need to prove it. They need to start winning. D-Minutes 4200 and Raider Ryan salute to longtime members, not just subscribers, but members of the channel. Guys, please consider hitting that membership. It really does help us out a lot, tremendously. I hope you guys are doing good. Luis says, do you think Genty is better than Brian Westbrook? Because that's my comparison to him in the NFL. I think he'll be better, yeah. I really do. I think this dude is just phenomenal. And when he gets to the NFL, he's definitely going to turn some heads. So again, if the Raiders draft him at pick number 6, I'm celebrating. Because What that means is that the Raiders are now solidified on offense. We do still have to go and get a, I don't know how to highlight that. Raider Ryan just gifted 10 memberships. Guys, give a big shout out to my boy Raider Ryan. He is always the biggest supporter over here on the channel. Absolutely love it. So, Efren, J Raider Nation, Hector Juarez, Raider Rick, Raiders Pep, Josh Clay, Mike Castle, Raider 8 Nation for life, Big Lil Bosco, and El Matic. You guys all just got gifted a membership to the Raider D podcast by my boy Raider Ryan. You guys are, we just can't do this show without guys like Raider Ryan, D-4200, all of my longtime supporters, and even my new supporters. It means the world to the channel that you guys are here every single time I post something. My regulars, the dudes that got my back, shout out to you guys, man. Shout out to you guys. Again, if you guys want to help support the channel, we absolutely love every single subscriber, every view, every like. It means the world to us. But we do need some help on the membership as well. We got a goal to hit 100 members before the regular season starts. So help us hit that goal. The cheapest version is only $2.99 a month, right? So very, very affordable. But we do have one guy. We have one guy, Abdullah Muhammad, who went all the way to the top, and he got the top tier, which is the Raider Nation badge. So, hey, anybody want to be in competition and take over that slot as the biggest member? Though it's kind of hard to outdo Raider Ryan because he gifts so many memberships that he's basically got the top tier anyway. So, listen, here's the thing. I think if Ashton Jeanty becomes a Raider at pick number 6, what it is saying is that the Raiders are all in on the offensive side of the ball, and that was really what hurt us last year. So we need offense this year. We need to score points this year. And you go and you draft a guy like Ashton Jeanty because he's going to get you that, right? Now, there's still the possibility that the Indianapolis Colts will trade away Alec Pierce. And I made a video about him. If you haven't seen it, then you guys got to go and check it out. Because Alec Pierce is a 6'3", 211-pound wide receiver who runs a 4.33 40. He's got great ball concentration, comes down with those contested catches, and it's just going to be awesome to have him as a Raider if they can pull it off. And you could possibly get him for a 3rd or 4th round draft pick because he's so far down the depth chart over there that he's not being utilized the way that he could be with the Raiders. And I just want to read this. Raider Ryan says, for all the prayer warriors, please pray and send positive thoughts to my best friend and longtime Raiders fan that is on a ventilator fighting for his life. Thank you and have a blessed day in advance. Man, that's tough, man. That is tough. May God grant him ease in his illness, man. That is tough. Tell him if you can get a message to him, tell him that Raider D and the Raider Nation got his back, man. And we're praying that he pull through it. Oh, man. Joshua says, what happened to Shopping Mayor for a trade? He's still on the block. Just nobody's bitten, right? They got the bait in the water, but none of the fish are taking the hook on Michael Mayer. And I think it kind of makes sense why nobody's taking the bait on Michael Mayer, because he had some undisclosed issue last year where he missed half the season. And so I think teams are going to be leery of that, right? That's an investment for a guy. It doesn't matter how good you are or where you were drafted. If you're not there for game day, You have no value in the NFL, and that's what sucks about it because it's a business. So I don't know if Michael Mayer will get traded. If he doesn't, listen, you just keep him because he's a great depth piece. Unfortunately, he hasn't really worked out so far. And so, but listen, Brock Bowers, if he goes down, if he were to get hurt, God forbid, I think you keep Michael Mayer just because you need that depth at tight end. And I don't like drafting a guy at pick number or in the second round and then just trading him 2 years later. It just doesn't make sense. Go ahead and just keep him as a backup to Brock Bowers and that 12-man personnel, which Chip Kelly will be using some of that this year, especially if you get a guy like Ashton Genty, right? I mean, it just makes sense that you would want to keep him around. So for me, I'm going to go ahead and say the Raiders keep him and just keep him as a backup and depth piece to Brock Bowers in that tight end room. Jack says Mayer will make a comeback, too early to give up on him. I agree. I think, he's on a rookie scale contract, so it's not costing you nothing. Might as well just let the kid cook and see what he can do. Jesse, I really hope Mayer and Bowers would be the best tight end duo in the league for years to come. Again, I agree with that. I think obviously Brock Bowers is going to get all the limelight because Michael Mayer is a good tight end, but he's more of like that traditional tight end where Brock Bowers is generational. And it's undeniable. The dude catches one-handed catches like he's a top-tier wide receiver in the NFL. And when you have a tight end that can do that, you're going to feed him the ball. Raider Ryan says, we just signed a tight end, I believe I just saw. I haven't seen anything yet as before I came on live, but now that I'm on live, there may be something that has come out. We'll see what happens with that. I know we're a little bit thin, actually. And that's kind of why I was wondering, like, why are we shopping Michael Mayer? It's not like we're super deep at tight end. So, I don't know. Just Raiders Baby says, I don't think we trade Mayer. The replacements are not great. He's going to be utilized a good amount. He can block and catch. And I agree with that, especially if you go and you're going to rely heavy on a run game. Michael Mayer is a heck of a blocker, right? And so you put him out there in those 12-man positions, especially when you're on the goal line. Because if they're going to play him like he's a blocker, you can slide him out in the flat and throw him a touchdown super easy. Joshua says, yeah, they can do some damage like Gronk and Hernandez did before Hernandez went psycho. Yeah. And, the sad thing about that is Gronk was the star of that tandem, and Brock Bowers is the star of this tandem, and Michael Mayer already had some mental issues. So hopefully he's got whatever it is checked. And I don't know if it was mental issues or what it was, but he had some type of personal issue that cost him half the season. And that was really sad. That was sad to see, but I mean, you know what? Yes, last year was just a disaster all the way around. It was a complete and utter dumpster fire from start to finish. And so I am super happy to see where the Raiders are right now, because I think the Raiders right now are in a much better situation and place in order to really start making something happen and the Raiders start winning again. I know a lot of people feel like Geno Smith was a terrible move for the Raiders. Well, listen, I'm going to tell you honestly, Geno Smith had one of the worst offensive lines, if not the worst offensive line in the NFL last year. And he still put up 4,300 yards and 25 touchdowns. Now, granted, he threw 15 interceptions, and that's not great. That's pretty bad, actually. It's a bad ratio. You want to at least be under 50-50. You don't want to be like 60-40. right? So, yeah, it was kind of bad on his interceptions, but again, the dude had the most pressures of any quarterback in the NFL, yet he still had the quickest release of any quarterback in the NFL. And so I think that if we can solidify the offensive line this year, and that offensive line can gel and play well, and we have a real run game with a guy like Ashton Genty, or if the Raiders do something different and they go running back in the second round and they go with a Tet McMillan or a Matthew Golden or somebody like that at the wide receiver spot, you still are going to have a big upgrade. Omari and Hampton and these other kids that are coming out of the college right now, all of them got a lot of potential. So they're just not Ashton Genty. There's only one Ashton Genty, and he is clearly the top guy. And I know some people say, oh, well, he played for Boise State. He didn't play for Alabama. He didn't play for Georgia. He didn't play for Clemson. He didn't play for Ohio State, right? Travion Henderson did. Dude's going to be fantastic, and he could become a Raider. It is very likely that Travion Henderson will get drafted by the Raiders in the second round if he is available. However, it doesn't matter where he played ball. First of all, Boise State have put out a lot of NFL players that have gone on to have fantastic careers. So I'm not going to knock anybody for coming from Boise State, because we got Hall of Famers who've come from Boise State. So I think it's really just watch him play. He's just at a whole different level. It's like a grown man playing against junior high kids. Period. Even when he's played big schools or he's playing the small schools, they're all still grown men out there trying to tackle this dude, and none of them can. And he just outruns everybody or runs over them or bounces off of them. It's absolutely insane to see what they do. Raider Ryan says the Patriots just gave Ellis $13.5 million for 2 years. Wow, that's a little bit of an overpayment. He's got some upside, but they must really believe in him. Edward Morgan just became a silver member. Salute to you, Edward. Appreciate you becoming a member. Guys, we got it. We are on a drive, man. We're trying to hit 100 memberships. Whatever level membership you want to do, we're trying to hit 100 memberships before the regular season. It'd be nice if we hit that mark before the draft. That would be really cool. So appreciate you guys for joining. Edward says, been watching you for a minute and always enjoy the content. Salute to you, my friend. I appreciate you, brother, for being a supporter of the Raider D podcast and what we do here. Cannot do it without you guys. Listen, for my dudes who've been watching from the very beginning, like D-Menace 4200, like Raider Ryan, you guys remember back when I was posting content and I had like 20 subscribers and I would get like 15 views and then 200 subscribers and a couple hundred views and then 1,000 subscribers and then 2,000 subscribers. And now we're almost at 12,000 subscribers, man. It is so crazy in just such a short time. I mean, we are a year and 3 or 4 months into this podcast, and the fact that we're already at almost 12,000 subscribers is just crazy. It is crazy, especially being that the Raiders have not been good in this time frame. And so what amazes me is the loyalty to the Raiders from the fan base that we have in the Raider Nation versus other teams, right? How many people during the heyday of the Patriots reign were suddenly Patriots fans? Those same people are now KC fans. How many people jumped on the San Francisco 49ers bandwagon every time they've had a good season and go to the Super Bowl? And now that the 49ers are terrible, where's all those 49ers fans? You don't see them anymore. You only see the diehards. But with the Raiders, we've been terrible for over 30 years. Like we got to the Super Bowl one time in 30, 40 years now. It's absolutely crazy, but the Raider Nation stays loyal, and that's why I absolutely love it. Just a Raiders baby said, yeah, I've seen it for like $75 online. Are you asking about this hat? It is like $75. That is true. It is on RaiderImage.com. I picked mine up in store in Vegas when we went down to the practices last year, and got to interview some people and meet up with some people at the Raiders organization last year, which was an absolute blast. And we will be doing it again this year, as we have now a standing invitation to go to the practices with the media, which is crazy again that just a guy on YouTube has a standing invitation from the Raiders to go and hang out at the practices. And we're talking about closed practices too. So I'm super excited and stoked about that, and can't wait to be able to bring you guys some exclusive footage and interviews. Also, I have an interview with a player coming up. Should be this week. We're trying to work out the details. Obviously, you know, he's an active player on the Raiders right now, so he's a very busy man. But I've got him on a verbal commitment that we're going to do the interview this week. So you guys are going to want to stay tuned for that. As soon as we have the exact day and time set, I will post that on the community tab. D-4200 says, Raider D, Raiders! Yes, sir. Salute. Love it. Man, and you know what's crazy? I live where my property is. We're like 45 minutes from the closest town. And that closest town is fairly small. I mean, there's a Walmart there, Home Depot and stuff like that, but it's fairly small. But you would be surprised at how many people rocking Raiders hats in that town. It's a lot of fun. I go up to them just out of the middle of the blue. They have no idea who I am. I'm just like, Raiders! So, Raider Nation, we're everywhere, man. We are everywhere. Jack Kenna says, Trey Taylor interview? No, but he is on the schedule to come back on. If you guys remember, I interviewed him last year. Fantastic kid. Right now, he's just focusing on his rehab. Remember, he got injured last year. And so he's 100% focused on that rehab. He's not really doing much interviews right now. But I do have a commitment from him and his agent that he will be back on as soon as he is 100% ready to go. So look out for that one as well. But this is another guy that I got coming on this week. So I'm not going to announce it. I'm not going to announce it until it happens, because, you know, Ben Johnson kind of bit me in the butt. Matthew Stafford kind of bit me in the butt. So I'm just going to be tight-lipped about stuff until it's like, you know, solidified 1,000% and we actually go live with these players. But we do have some verbal commitments from a few of the players, and we'll be getting those interviews on as soon as we possibly can. Edward says, living in Dallas, Texas, the amount of Raiders fans out here is awesome. Man, I'm telling you, everywhere I've ever been, I'm always seeing Raiders gear. Whether it's hats, mostly hats, t-shirts, stuff like that. People all over the place. We've got people checking in from England. We've got people checking in from New Zealand. We've got people checking in from Asia. I mean, it's crazy. We're all over the place. All over the place. Matt says, people are mocking that we may take cornerback Ben Johnson from Michigan at pick number 6. I have seen that. I don't know. I don't know that the Raiders would do that because, and let me say why I don't believe that would be the case. Right now, if you look at Jacorian Bennett, he is a starter in the NFL. And then we have some young corners that we drafted last year, and they have a lot of upside. So it's, for me, I don't see why they would do that when we have such big needs at more critical positions, particularly on the offense. So I think the pick number 6 is going to be offense. It has to be offense for me. Uh, Bike Walkers MTB says, I went to see the Raiders versus Giants in New York. Almost half the crowd was Raiders fans. I was loving it. Sweet. Aiden says, good amount of people in Iowa. Awesome. Edward from LA, been in Texas for a few years now, and the amount of love the Raiders get out here is great. So many fans out here. Love seeing less Cowboys fans every year. I mean, how is Texas, by the way? I haven't been to Texas in like, God, I don't know, 20, 27, 28 years. Been a long time. How is it out there? I hear it's a pretty cool spot. And you're one of those, it's funny too, because you're one of those California guys who moved out to Texas that all the Texans are saying, don't come to Texas. Keep your Californication to yourself. And there's one of my boy, he went and did it. It's like, I don't care. I'm moving to Texas. I love it. Jack says, I'm hoping that D. Richardson, DCam, takes that leap, Pete Carroll type of corner. Well, yeah, I mean, we have DCam, Devon Shire. We've got some young, talented guys with upside at the corner position. And that's why if the Raiders were to take a corner at pick number 6, I would be aghast. And this is also why I don't pay a whole lot of attention to mock drafts, right? So the people that I talk to with the Raiders, they're saying this. As it stands right now, Pete Carroll is 100% sold on Ashton Jeanty. He wants Ashton Jeanty. That's his pick, right? And we dealt with the quarterback situation for this year. And I think because, when Pete Carroll came in, he's looking at Shedeur Sanders, who could possibly be there at pick number 6. But he's looking at him and thinking to himself, I don't think this guy is the franchise quarterback. Now, this could all be smoke and mirrors. Let me just throw that caveat out there. This could all be smoke and mirrors that they're letting this stuff leak out about Ashton Jeanty to the Raiders because they're really going for somebody else. And that's always a possibility in any professional sports team, that they intentionally leak out false information in order to throw the dogs off the scent, as it is, or as it is said, right? And so we could be going Ted McMillan. We could be going Shedeur Sanders. Maybe the reason why we don't have a long-term deal inked and why we haven't had a press conference with Geno Smith is because they can't come to a conclusion with him. Maybe they don't believe in Geno Smith long-term. So I don't know. I've tried to get some intel on what's going on with Geno Smith, and I haven't been able to get an exact confirmed report on why exactly he has not signed that contract yet. LTX383 says, being a Raiders fan is like not wearing a condom, LOL. Could be a good time or could be crying next season. Raider Nation for life. Well, I'll tell you this right now, man. It's always going to be that up and down with the Raiders because it's a sports team. And you're always going to have that season where it's just like everything's hitting on all cylinders. You get to the Super Bowl, and then you got to face John Gruden, and you get beat down. That's just kind of the way it goes, man. It's unfortunate and it sucks, but it is what it is. Jack says, I say get Mason Graham 6. Get a running back like Hampton in the 2nd or one of the Ohio State running backs in the 3rd. Mason Graham is going to be a great defensive tackle in the NFL. He is. Here's my problem with that. You've got Max Crosby. You have Christian Wilkins. You have a healthy Malcolm Kuntz. You have Tyree Wilson. You have Adam Butler. Why would we go and get another defensive lineman when we can't score points on the offense? That's why I would disagree with that. I think, yeah, because you could get Omari and Hampton possibly in the second round, and that would be an upgrade for sure. But we need more help on the offense, though, bro. I know rotation, and I get that. I mean, we just signed, what's his name, Lula from Utah. We just signed him to a deal. He's a defensive tackle. The dude is really good. Has a lot of upside. D-Minutes 4200. Hit that like button. Let's go. And again, you know, I think that you could go and get Mason Graham, and he's going to be a star in the NFL. I totally get that. But I think you need playmakers on the offensive side more because, listen, last year, even though our defense was nowhere near as good as it was in the second half of 2023 because of all the injuries, our defense still kept us in games, but our offense couldn't score points. And I think that if you're going to bring in Geno Smith, you've got to give him more weapons. And I don't think that you can pass on a guy. Listen, Mason Graham is going to be a great player in the NFL. Is he an Aaron Darnold type of defensive tackle, though? Is he a Chris Jones? I don't think so. I think he's going to be good. I think he's going to be possibly multiple Pro Bowls. But Ashton Jeanty, Abdul Carter, either one of those guys are sitting there at pick number 6. I don't see how you don't draft them. Those dudes are above and beyond everybody else. As good as Mason Graham is, Ashton Jeanty at his position is far more valuable to the Raiders this year, right? I mean, if it was a couple years ago and Mason Graham was there at the level he's at now and it's Tyree Wilson or Mason Graham, I'm going Mason Graham all day long. But this year we need that offense. Joshua, I just read Kirk Cousins to the Steelers. That means Rodgers goes to the Giants most likely. But even if they do get Rodgers to the Giants will still pick Shedeur Sanders. That's my opinion. I'm going to stand by it until draft because I don't see why you would get a 95-year-old quarterback and not draft his replacement because you're just setting yourself up for failure there. Let's see. Raider Ryan said, when are we doing a live so you can send me and D-Minutes the link to hop on when your studio is done? Well, let me give you guys an update on the studio. So this is what's happening right now. I'm working on the bathroom part of it, and I also got the business to run, and then obviously I got to make content for you guys as well. And so it's a little bit of a slow thing, but I do have some key materials from some sponsors that are sending us some stuff right now that is going to make this thing look fantastic when it's done. So I am hoping that within the next month, I'm hoping it'll be done before the draft. But I'm going to be realistic because I am 45 minutes from the nearest town, and if I forget one item, I have to waste my entire day to go to Home Depot or the plumbing store or the electrical store and get that one item. So things are moving a little bit slower than I would hope, but it is what it is. So I'm hoping that the studio is going to be fully built out and done within the next 4 weeks. And if so, we'll start doing regular lives in there. The reason why I haven't been doing lives is because, one, I've got a ton of stuff to do. And number two is it's not very nice in there yet. I don't have my lights set up. I don't even have insulation in most of the walls, only in the bathroom. So it's a work in progress. But as soon as we get there, we'll start doing regular lives again. And yes, brother, you, D-Minutes, all the members, that's one of the member perks, man. This is why you guys got to get on the member perks, even just the lowest level. you're invited to jump on the show live with me. I will send you a link and you can come on and, yell out your Raiders and talk football with me and the Raider Nation. So another big perk for just becoming a member and, basically buying me a cup of coffee at $2.99 a month, unless you want to move up to the silver and black package, or you want to move all the way up and grab the gold, silver, and black star Raider Nation badge. So let's see. We got to jump back into these comments here. Luis says, feel sorry for you if you get home and forgot something at the store. Bro, it's happened so many times. So many times. I've been in construction most of my life. Grew up in it, third generation contractor, all that stuff. But I'm not a plumber. I'm not an electrician. I'm not an HVAC guy. So I'm learning all this stuff. I used to hire plumbers to do the plumbing, and I hired electricians to do all the electrical, and I left their expertise to them. Mine was more in like framing and carpentry. And so I'm learning all of this myself as I'm building this one out. Now, the first little tiny house that we built out here on the property, I did have my electrician come out and do the electrical for me. My HVAC guy came and did the HVAC for me. But on this new one, the studio that we're building out now, I'm doing everything. So I'm like, that's one of the reasons why it's taking so long, is I'm literally just sitting there watching YouTube videos like crazy, trying to learn, and then calling up my boys, my electricians and stuff. Hey, what do you recommend for this? What do you recommend for that? And so I'm just figuring it all out. And that's kind of why the studio is taking a little bit longer, but we will get it done. And when we do, we will be back to doing more regular lives. So James Firpo in the house. Raiders! Yes, sir. Salute to you, my man. My guitar says draft Genty. I agree with that. Kenneth says, or James says, peace to Downs Raiders. Yep. Okay, so listen, at pick number 6, if the Raiders don't do any trade backs, let's say they just take the best player available, whether it's Abdul Carter, who, again, he does have a foot injury, and that makes me a little bit nervous. But I would say if the Raiders have picked their running back or their best player available, whatever it is, in rounds 2 through 4, I think that the Raiders really need to focus on a couple of key things. I think there you can add some depth to the defensive tackle position. I think there you can add some depth to the defensive end position. I think there you can add guards, which is what the Raiders really need. And if you guys haven't seen the little viral skit that JPJ did with the Raiders where they dressed him up like he was a janitor or something, and then they announced him as the starting center for the Las Vegas Raiders, that to me just felt so good to hear that, to see that. I mean, I already knew that was going to be the case, but it is solidified. He is the starting center of this team, and he will be the heart and soul of this offensive line for years to come. So what we need to do is we got to go out and we got to get some guards. And you can find guards typically in the draft in the 2nd and 3rd round, even in the 4th round. You can find very good guards there. But if we could get a golden nugget like we got last year with JPJ in the 2nd round, if we can hit on that in the 2nd round this year and get a guard who's just going to be phenomenal like JPJ is, listen, this offensive line is just, they're going to rock and roll. Brady Ryan says, I like Ollie Gordon. Yeah, Ollie Gordon's going to be really good. I made a video about him. He's got a lot of high upside, prototypical running back. He's going to run people over. Definitely would be an upgrade to what we have right now. Yeah, Alan Bush says JPJ was a fake Allegiant Stadium tour guide. Yeah, that's what it was, a tour guide. I don't know, I was thinking he was a janitor or something. But they had him all dressed up and stuff in a disguise. It was funny. It was funny. And that's you know what? That's one of the great things about JPJ too, is you look at his character. I mean, this dude, he just livens up wherever he's at because he's just got so much positive energy. But when he's on the football field, that dude is a monster. He loves to put people on their back. Jason says this year's running back class is going to be Baskin-Robbins, 31 flavors. All are good. Some flavors are better than others. True. I mean, this is a very deep running back class that's coming out this year. And so I think, the Raiders, in my opinion, might even double up. They might double dip. They might get a double scoop of ice cream, of some Baskin Robbins, and get 2 running backs this year, which would be pretty crazy. But guys, listen, I got to run. I got some stuff I got to do. I got to go work on the shower in the studio, keep putting some tile in and stuff like that. And if you guys want to check out my other channel, it is linked in the description below. Go ahead and check us out at Black Rain Official on YouTube, where I show more of the Raider Ranch and what we're doing out here with our off-grid system. So yeah, go and check that out. And a big shout out to Vtoman Solar for being a sponsor of the channel. Link is in the description. You want to go and check them out if you need a solar solution, whether it's a small solar generator. They also have 2 really cool products that they're sending me. Battery operated tire inflator that will also jump start your car. And then they got the power washer as well. Crazy stuff. I'll be showing those as soon as I get them in the mail. So you'll want to check those out. Vtoman Solar for your solar panels and your solar generators. Go and check them out. Big shout out to them and all of you for joining me here. I got to run, but you know how we end these live streams. Raiders just win, baby.